Inside of the ag industry today, here's one thing you really need to understand. Working harder doesn't mean that you're working smarter. A lot of people that I've run into over the years really run these two terms side by side and think they mean the same thing, but the facts tell us a different story. And inside today's video, I'm gonna talk about decisions that farmers and ranchers and really just business owners in general typically make that they end up regretting and have to face massive consequences for those decisions. So we're gonna get into these topics right now. All right, guys, so the first topic that I wanna cover with you guys is this whole concept around bigger doesn't always mean better, right? So inside of the ag industry, if you are a part of this industry, then you know a lot of farmers and ranchers and really just business owners in general, again, we're driven by some sort of ego, right? And so especially in the farming and ranching community, you have this idea that you want to be the biggest rancher in your county or your region, or you maybe want to be the biggest farmer in your county because it has bragging rights, right? You have this ego and you want people's perception of you to be a certain way. So you think just getting bigger is going to end up being better for you in the long run. But the reality is that's just not the case. I have had countless people come into Legacy Farmer over the years that literally they grew their operation because they had an opportunity to expand by 2,500 acres or 5,000 acres or whatever that may be. And they ultimately ended up regretting that decision. And the reason is because at the foundation of their business, there was a lot of problems across every foundational piece to their business. And when they scaled these acres, that foundation started to crumble. And we've seen this time and time again with people coming into Legacy Farmer. And it doesn't matter if you're doing 500,000 a year in revenue or 10 million a year in revenue. I've seen both businesses of all sizes here go through this experience where they've had this opportunity to grow and their ego told them, yes, you should do this. It's going to be more profits, more money, which we're going to talk about that. But people are going to talk good about you in the community, and you can tell yourself all day long that, hey, yeah, I'm not expanding because I want people to think about me differently. I mean, I'm going to challenge you on that because if you grew up in a small town, like, people talk and people, we make decisions based on that because that's just how we're raised. And that's what we're taught to believe growing up and things like that. So at the end of the day, that's part of it. I'm going to challenge you on that. But for these customers I've worked with over the years, they always face massive consequences because I've seen some people too, to where they've scaled way too fast, took on way more acres than what their operation could stand or what they could personally stand as a business owner, because as you grow your business, you also have to grow the businessman or businesswoman running and leading the business as well. Those two run side by side here, and you can't have one without the other. And in a lot of cases here, again, a couple specific ones that I'm talking about here, I've seen some family operations grow and scale way too fast and ultimately sent them into bankruptcy. And it may have not happened the next year, but maybe 2 or 3 years down the line when they just were not prepared. Financially, they couldn't handle it. From an operational standpoint, they could not handle it. So at the end of the day, my friend, bigger does not always equal better. We have to be strategic around what acres we're taking on. Why are we taking on those acres? Does it make financial sense? And then from an operational standpoint, can we handle this as well? And if you're not doing those two things there, then you're going to run into a world of problems there if you grow and scale way too fast. All right, the next topic that I want to cover with you guys is this concept around more revenue does not equal more profit. Now, we've had several conversations in Legacy Farmer with our customers over the years around how many decisions people have made and how many additional acres they may have taken on because of a couple of different reasons. One, their ego wants them to be able to say, yeah, we did $3 million a year in revenue, or we did $5 million a year in revenue, because as business owners, people, they love to talk about revenue, but very few people want to talk about profit. And if these farmers and ranchers were being honest with you and said, yeah, we're doing $5 million a year in revenue, okay, great, that's awesome, but what's your actual profit? Because at the end of the day, as business owners, isn't that the only metric that matters? How much money is the business actually making? How much money you're able to take home to your family? Those are the key metrics here that I'm looking for in my business. I could care less, honestly, about what revenue is. If I had an operation that did $5 million a year and had a very small profit margin versus an operation that did $1 million a year but had a 20% profit margin, I would take the smaller operation all day long, because chasing more revenue means you as a business owner are going to have additional stress, additional anxiety. It's going to cost a lot more money. There's going to be a lot more moving pieces. You're going to need a bigger team. It's just more responsibility and stress across the board there. And so I would rather make sure I'm optimizing whatever size of operation you have to maximize profit, even if it's a small operation, versus growing just to grow and chasing revenue versus chasing profit. The other reason that people have chosen to chase revenue is because they're chasing revenue to make payments from losses from prior years because they did not manage their business correctly and they have debt to pay off. And so that revenue is going to be used to make those payments. And this is another thing that we've seen time and time again working with customers across the country here, to where they made those decisions because they were just chasing revenue because they had this debt load that they had to get taken care of. Again, I understand why people are having to do that. But the thing is, though, I want to prevent our customers from ever being in that position in the first place by showing them how to manage and organize their numbers in a way that's going to simplify these big financial decisions so that they know very clearly, yes, we should move forward with this, or no, we shouldn't. And we do that all the time by showing our customers how to use our software called Farmer Metrics. So at the end of the day, if you are in the position where you are chasing revenue, either because your ego is telling you to, I would challenge you with that and really push you to ask yourself that question, or you're chasing revenue because you have old debts to pay. Again, you're just creating a world of problems there where if your foundation of your business, like we talked about in the first topic here, is not set up to handle that amount of revenue, you're going to cause a lot more pain than gain in that type of scenario. All right, the next topic I want to talk about, you guys, is that more risk does not always equal more reward. And I think this is different for, just kind of depends on what type of industry you're in. I think this is especially true in farming and ranching because I don't know any other industry in the world that exists where there are literally hundreds, if not thousands of variables that at the end of the day, you as the business owner, you just don't control. You can do the best you can to plan and manage and try to, hedge your risk and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's just a lot of variables going on in the ag industry in this world that can really impact you on what your level of profitability is going to be. So again, though, a lot of people were taught, trained, and conditioned that more risk equals more reward. I'm sorry, but I'm going to challenge you on that. And every one of these topics today, guys, that I'm talking about, the foundational lesson here is that we need to be patient and strategic and spend more time thinking about this decision versus just pulling the trigger because we have these stories in our mind that, hey, more risk equals more reward. Play big or go home, right? Those types of things there that at least I was raised with. And those stories there that lead us to making massive financial decisions that maybe we're actually not prepared to handle, right? And making that decision could just lead to massive problems inside of our business and our finances and ultimately lead back to our family, which again, I've seen time and time again here, guys. So everything I'm talking to you about today is try to open this up to you so that you don't make these same mistakes here that I've seen happen time and time again working with customers. So when it comes to really analyzing, taking on more acres and judging it based off of, does taking more risk actually equal more reward? Well, in order to do that, you have to know what your numbers are. You have to be structured, detailed, and organized there so you can have clarity in what your operation is going to look like from a financial standpoint and what the actual true reward is going to be there. And going through this process, the number one thing that you're going to have to battle with is your ego that's creating stories in your mind telling you that, hey, we need to pull the trigger because this opportunity to take on these acres or buy this ground is never going to come up again, right? And again, those are the emotions that are drawing us to making these business decisions, which ultimately lead to massive problems. And one thing I work with our customers on all the time is I do not want them making any financial decisions based off of emotions. There's a lot of emotions in this industry. I want them making these decisions from a place of knowing what the numbers are and removing all emotions and looking at the facts and what the numbers are showing here. And if the facts are showing and the numbers are showing that, hey, yes, this is a good decision, great, then we pull the trigger. But if it's being led by emotions and ego, it's always going to hurt you more in the long run. All right, guys, now the last topic here is going to be around working harder does not mean that you're working smarter. Now, if you're raised on a farm or ranch, then you know that a majority of people in the industry, the number one way that we avoid or deal with stress is we want to go work harder. But the problem is, though, is that most people are not working harder while working smarter. I think you have to have two and two right there next to each other. I think they work really well together. But most people, though, we're not working smarter, right? We're just working harder, and we've been taught, trained, and conditioned growing up that, hey, if you go work harder, it'll result in more dollars in your bank account. That is absolutely false. In my opinion, you should have a goal to get to a level in your operation where you're no longer working in the business. A majority of your time is spent in the office or, driving around the operation, whatever that is, working on the business versus in it. Because when you're working on it, you are leading from the top. You are leading from the visionary seat. And that visionary seat is working on where are we going as a company. They're working on strategic deals, getting more land to rent, or finding out ways to expand the operation. They're working on where's the business going overall there. And that is where every person needs to get inside of their business, because when you're in the visionary seat solely, your schedule's open, and it should be open. You should have time to sit and make sure that not only are you working harder, but you're working smarter inside the business, and you're giving yourself the time to really think through these decisions and think about all the possible scenarios, right? The second, third, and fourth order consequences. If you watch any of my other videos, you've heard me talk about that concept there. You really have to game plan out on the types of things that you're wanting to happen inside of the business and really think through so you can have the confidence commitments and clarity to know that you're making the right decision or the wrong decision. And once you get to this place, guys, I know it's tough for us in the industry because we don't feel like we're being valuable to the industry, or we have some guilt if we're not working in the business. But I can just tell you, if you have a team, you are much more valuable to the team sitting and thinking and getting things lined up for where the business is heading, so that you can make sure that the team has all the tools, that you facilitated them with everything they need to make that vision become a reality, because they're counting on you to lead that from that place as well. And I'm sorry, but if you're stuck in the tractor all day long, it's really hard for you to lead from that place. So guys, at the end of the day, it's kind of like I mentioned there in the middle of the video, below all these topics here that we talked about, the message I'm trying to get to you is we need to work harder and we need to work smarter. And that we have to remove basically these things that are holding us back, like our ego or our emotions, that are causing us massive problems in the business or causing us to make massive financial commitments that may be not in the best interest of you or your business or for your team or whatever it may be there, and that you ultimately end up to regret. So at the end of the day, this is what we focus on inside of Legacy Farmer. And it all starts from a place of just getting your businesses structured and organized, both from an operational standpoint, but primarily from a financial standpoint. Because once we have clarity in the numbers, everything about the future of your operation is going to change. Everything about you as a business owner is going to change. Everything about the financial decisions that you make going forward is going to drastically change. And if you don't have that piece put together inside of your business, it is a guarantee you are going to continue to struggle. You are going to continue to make financial decisions based off of emotions, not facts. And the facts are found in the numbers. And if you're not structured and organized there, you're always going to be making massive financial decisions and commitments based off of emotions, which is not going to serve you in the long run. So my friends, if you want help with this, this is exactly what we've done inside of Legacy Farmer for over the past 5 years with hundreds of family farm operations across the country. We have a proven process that we take everybody through to take them from a place of financial chaos and disorganization to a place of financial confidence and clarity. So if you're interested in learning more about that, then I invite you to schedule a free call with our team. There's going to be a link below this video. You can click on it and it'll take you to our team's calendar. On that call, we're going to take time to really get to know you and learn about your operation, but also too, you're going to get to learn about us, right? And what we do, how we do it, and just get to know us as an organization as well. And from that place, we are going to decide whether or not we're a good fit to work together. And if we are, great, we move forward. If we're not, no harm, no foul. So my friends, click the link below, schedule your call, and we'll talk to you then.